Bungalow Bill here, and welcome back to From the Depths. Miles has finally made it near the front line with the Steel Striders, and of course we have to pretend that this is the same Miles that we saw before, despite the fact that I broke it down into its constituent atoms, packed it into a meatball, flew it across the map, and then put it back together. It's really sort of like the Star Trek problem, but you just pretend that they're not killing off their characters repeatedly and building new ones out of whatever meaty fluid that they're ground up into. So I put this into play to capture a new top speed because I was pretty sure it could go faster than I was getting, and I was in fact right about that. So I'm flying Miles over to the Steel Striders, who have about the same cost in vehicles as I do, although only about a third of my fleet is engaging them because the rest is going for the Grey Talons and the Twin Guard. So we'll see how Miles does. We're going to find him some lady ships at the Steel Striders, and then hopefully use those to fertilize our resource zones that we're mining out a little bit. I have replenished them from the Twin Guards and the Steel Striders and such, but let's simply get on with it. Okay, I would like to point out for a second that I'm playing on the easy difficulty. That's all I was planning on saying, really. And here we have the Agitation. It's a sleek particle bomber for the Twin Guard, and I'm trying to take it on with 3 of these kinda bad ships, but if it can't bomb us, we'll probably do pretty well. It's making something, though. It's not clear to me what. Well, that's frustrating. There we go. Those missiles are going to be a little bit dangerous, especially because they're not chipping away at it very quickly. However, it's not trying to fly high despite the fact that it has ion jets. Okay, so it is capable of hitting us with frag missiles, which are going to be very effective given that we're entirely made out of wood. So I doubt this will go well. I could have just killed this, but I wanted to see what it could do. And the answer in this case is quite a lot. It's not super easy to hit, even with these relatively high velocity shells, because it's highly unstable, and it's making a bunch of these little guys. I think we've seen them before. Pixies, yes, I have fought a pixie swarm. See, I was just thinking one potential hope. I don't know why these grouped up. No, I missed this guy taking critical damage. One hope would be that the Pixies would run it out of materials, but that's not going to happen.
Engaging now. Listening.
Definitely be more cost effective to kill some of the Pixies.
Engaging now.
I do wish that collision avoidance actually just kept your craft away from each other, instead of making them panic at the last second after they're already going to collide. It doesn't reroute their waypoints or anything. Yeah, so I'm going to have to pull one of my heavier vehicles that has better point defense and actually kill these in a second. But at least I got to see what this thing did without just instantly destroying it. Don't think I'm really going to do any more damage, though, so I'm just going to end this battle. Well, I came back, and I'm ready to take revenge. This craft is really not made to kill aircraft, but other than the Paper Tiger, it's the best that I have, and I don't have Paper Tigers here. Although when this thing does come in a straight line, it's quite easy to hit even with crams, although ideally they would hold their fire until they're a little bit closer. Despite the fact that we're made out of wood, we're reasonably heavy. And we have the defenses necessary to actually handle these light missile barrages. I'm imagining this thing has little to no particle cannon firepower left. Is this taking enough damage? But actually, it looks like it might have right until it got destroyed. I didn't see any broken pipes. There should be a pixie around here somewhere. We actually killed the other one. I didn't notice, but it did die at some point. There's only one pixie in this fleet. It still did 6% with that ram, so that wasn't completely inconsequential. It took this turret off a bit. Oh, that's where most of the damage went, though. So I'm gonna have to repair it to do some reasonable crammage, I think. Yeah, it took most of the barrels off. I don't think we can see that. Well, I got ambushed by a Zephyr, a Wasp, a Bombardier, and an Osprey. Definitely a lot more Z-clipping. I'm not sure something changed. I doubt that this craft would have been released with this much Z-clipping. Definitely decos that were supposed to cover heavy armor to make it look like it wasn't using any. And something went a bit wrong here. There was an island to kill all of my water skimmers, and 3 flood fills, which I believe I've retrofit. See, these are actually going to dive. Although, these are basically just massive piles of explosives, so they do take appreciable damage. And if anything hits them in the middle, their ammo batteries are sandwiched between their large missiles, they just immediately die. So something I did test out after the last episode was I spawned in a bunch of craft with very low block counts, but different bounding box sizes. And I did realize that there's a constant cost to spawning a craft in that's proportional to the volume that its bounding box takes up. I believe it's allocating an array whose size is the number of voxels that the craft occupies. And I definitely would have made Miles a bit differently if I had realized that beforehand. It makes sense. I should have guessed that it was a thing. But man, Miles could take a lot less time to spawn in and still have enough air. He could be like half the width and half the length and still be a high enough percentage of air. And maybe I could have done fairly squat cram turrets or something like that and halved his height. You made him an eighth of the volume and still gotten the whole I am very large thing. Those cram cannons are very deadly to my submarines. Oh, if one of those hits anywhere near the middle of the submarine, it's just going to immediately explode and just absolutely break in half. And since they're shooting radar-guided large missiles, they're not really choosing what they're shooting. They're just sort of sending them over and hitting the Osprey. But the Osprey definitely cannot take one volley from everything, so it's going to go down soon. I am thinking about doing a quick video about radar signatures, because recently I was messing around with spoofing radar. Not with decoys or that sort of thing, but for the purposes of drawing enemy radar-guided fire to a small plane rather than to your battleship. Usually you want to reduce your radar signature if you're shooting off flares or that sort of thing, in case the enemy's using radar-guided missiles. It's definitely having some detection issues, but it could get lucky and kill us. But sometimes, you know, if you have, like that shot. Yeah, like that shot. That shot hit our ammo supply despite the fact that it was almost incapable of seeing us. This is what happens if it puts one right between these missile gantries. But sometimes, if you have a small evasive plane, maybe you just want it to take all of the radar fire and just... That probably shouldn't have been counted as sinking anymore. But anyway, should have to just take all the radar fire and your big ship gets left alone by the massive radar-seeking missiles that a lot of enemy ships use. And I was messing around with it, and I could get some very small planes to pull fire from some of my largest battleships that weren't even designed to have small radar signatures. I was thinking, this is a small battle, this is going to be over quickly, I'm not going to bother to film this, I have a massive advantage. And then I noticed this thing. If you don't think that you're a good enough builder to get a ship into Neater, just look at this guy. This is going to be a true test of torpedo defenses. This is the Reef Shark against a lot of my submarines and a few water skimmers. So I expect this to be at a bit of an advantage, but we'll see if these submarines put out enough anti-torpedo fire or if they just sort of get deleted. I believe the Reef Shark has been fixed, so it doesn't just catapult itself onto the seafloor now. I don't really... Okay, so we are doing a lot of damage to torpedoes. I'm imagining... Oh, this is a problem. It looks like our torpedoes have some issues if we haven't dove deep enough yet. It's not like I really test them, but given that these things are such glass cannons, we do have a lot of anti-torpedo defenses. It's looking like it actually might not be enough. Oh dear. Okay, that was really close. I do think that just a single one of those to the wrong place can torpedo us, so to speak. We'll have to hope that we get some decent missile damage in. It looks like we're not. It looks like the Reef Shark is actually taking these out. I did not think it was going to be able to. I'm guessing it has a lot of missile interceptors. It's starting to look ragged though, just from all of the CWIS fire. And once it gets further away, and we have more time to launch our missile defenses or our torpedo defenses, I don't think it's going to have much hope of doing anything. These look like they might be having a little bit of trouble with flares. That one's going way over the top, but now they're going in. The lambs are probably down or depleted on energy. Well, it was damaged, so I did not have much steering power. Yeah. And now the Reef Shark's just getting a bit sad. It is a medium design. I liked it a lot better before the hydrofoils, though I think it just looks kind of goofy now. They were put in as a joke, so it's not really a knock to the person who put them on. But I do think that if they're going to stay... I don't know how I would change it to make them be integrated a little bit better. It's possible that a new ship would have to be built completely to make it look decent on the hydrofoils, but it's also possible that with just a little bit more work, these hydrofoils could have looked a lot better. I'm assuming those are some of our torpedoes that missed that are going straight up into the air. I do have one torpedo submarine, and the rest shoot missiles. But the Reef Shark is still gamely shooting away those torpedoes. Looks like they don't have one turns, and they're being shot upwards, so they've got a long way to go before they even hit the water. It has sponged a pretty good amount of damage, given its cost, and that it's often a little bit of a glass cannon, but I don't have any pen depth weaponry, which can take it out pretty quickly. When I have to resort to blasting through its armor, it takes a while, comparatively at least. Although I guess I didn't actually outcost it very much. I think I have a very minor cost advantage. Although I only have a very slight cost advantage if you don't include my torpedo submarine that I don't think can hit this because its torpedoes aren't fast enough. That's a lot of lasers, isn't it? It's not a huge amount, but for a medium difficulty craft, that's a lot of engine power and a lot of lasers. Well, it has finally happened. This is our first battle with Miles and the Megalodon. due to my vehicle's high amount of volume each, at any given moment I'm going to be at a significant cost disadvantage to the Megalodon, even with the battle size set all the way up. I'm also not sure what's going to spawn in first, and I'm not sure if this can even hit the retributions, so I've made sure to spawn in 2 of my smaller ships, but it's likely that a large number of these are going to fight down into the Megalodon. But Miles is not going to do great, especially because the hollow point shells of the Megalodon are really what you actually want to use to beat Miles. So I'm going to sit for probably about a minute, maybe a little bit more, spawning stuff in, and then I'll be back. Alright, I definitely should have saved the game before that fight, or before I try to spawn everything in. It looks like the enemy has been allowed 1 retribution. I'm pretty sure I have identify friend or foe on these missiles. We're certainly going to find out. Fortunately, I've got some AWSs to help shoot this down. They're not doing a great job. Alright. You know, we're targeting right through the middle of ourselves, but so far so good. We knocked a big chunk out. You know, that's fine. We can deal with... Oh, we've knocked a few chunks out, but you know, we can deal with that. Please don't be targeting our own units. Good, good. And don't crash. Alright, the retributions come with these guys. This is gonna be super obnoxious. I'm not sure we can even really fight them. Well, that one blew up. I'm not sure what we hit it with. Probably some of our Seaways. I thought we were shooting at this one, but this is the Meg spawning in. This mess of missiles is not useful against these. Hopefully it'll do something to the Meg. However, okay, that almost certainly just killed one of our water skimmers. I do not think that Miles is going to like these hollow point shells. We'll have to see. Miles also likely needs to reload, so it's not going to get its alpha strike against the Meg. Still at 99% though. Just took some fire straight to the lumberyard. These decoys are doing a pretty good job. Fortunately, this is the issue with these sort of decoys on a stick. Over the Meg's just ridiculous number of interceptors and missile defenses and that sort of thing. Doing a number against Miles, but we're getting in there. Right, Miles is putting up a fight against the Megalodon. Yeah. There we go, 2% down. And taking hollow point shells straight to the lumberyard. Doing what the lumberyard does best. Ideally, these AWSs, if we still have both of them, this one's not moving anymore. This one's definitely still firing though, and is at 99%. Hopefully they're draining lambs. That's one of the things that these types of shells is really good for. Okay, those torpedoes, not that scary. Not sure how many of these missiles are going to make it through though, from this distance. You know, the Meg might barely have enough money to kill Miles, but is a way that we can win. Okay, the decoys are in full effect again. We do have signal processors, and we can just kill the decoys by shooting enough missiles at them. Okay, got in a little bit more damage. Chipping away. If we're lucky, we'll take out some of these missile interceptors and that sort of thing. I don't think we got lucky there. We came real close to that missile interceptor battery, but we didn't actually hit it. Yeah, Miles definitely slowly losing this fight, but the Megalodon is set up very well to fight a lot of missiles. I think that if Miles was wielding something a little bit more effective against the Meg, he might have a pretty good chance. Also, ironically, if the Meg shot any other kind of kinetic round, it would probably be way worse. I think these water skimmers are having a lot of trouble shooting properly because they probably have zero stability. Yeah, unfortunately, just not many of these missiles are going through. They really need to be remote guided to hit the Meg, I think. And even then, it's still not great. Just with this quantity of missile defenses, it's pretty much a hard counter. Pure kinetic missiles that are remote guided probably would be a pretty good choice. Still, the Meg's just sucking down such massive quantities of resources to fight us. We do have a lot of materials in this fleet, but we don't seem to be sharing them very well with Miles. Miles might actually be too far away. Well, at least we're getting some damage in. We might have spawned something else. I don't think so, though. I think after this water skimmer dies, yeah, we're not spawning in anything else for quite a while. If we can do some damage to the Meg, we might be able to spawn in a meatball, which would tear up the Meg pretty quickly. There we go. We caught it with its flares down. Nice chunk of damage through. Still has good firepower, though. We haven't been hitting turret caps very well. And just these pure HE missiles are not... they're not the solution to turret caps. Or really anything. I feel like one good missile barrage could have made this a lot faster, but here we are.
Thank
Yeah, as sort of quick a build as Miles was, I did try to make it a little bit more of a generalist with the missiles, but definitely really suffers against the Meg because of that. Because whoever built this thing hated missiles. We lost a lot more missile firepower than I thought we would. I'm not sure how so many of them are getting hit, but it's giving us more and more trouble getting through the Meg's defenses, and this is going to cause a big problem when the Meg spawns really far from my ships and it's using railguns and my ships aren't. A lot of our thrusters aren't up thrusters, and I think it's actually doing a pretty good job of hitting some of the pods that have the up thrusters in it. It's using auto balance, and just a lot of the thrusters that I sprinkled around don't have any... Oh, and it's probably out of gas. So that'll do it, yeah. I don't think we're firing back anymore, and I doubt it's going to let us... Oh, is it? It did let us pull it out. Alright, well... Let's try the next ships. We definitely got too far from our fleet and ran out of resources there, which really didn't help. Unfortunately, I just don't think that this is going to be an effective way to engage the Megalodon, though. We're so far away now. We're hitting it. We're doing damage. With, what did we spawn in? 2 husks, a pulley warrior, a meatball, AWS. The thing is, the meatball is going to take a lot of fire from this range, and we didn't manage to take out any of these guns. We took out a few barrels, but that's it. Oh, actually, this is much better than I thought the meatball would do. Is it closed at all? 4 kilometers, it's still a long way away. So the accuracy is not tremendous. A lot of these are missing, but we're still doing way better damage than Miles was. I wasn't really expecting the Meg when I built Miles either. Have to repair him and give him another chance. Taking some fire. Actually, the husks have been taking more fire. Starting to get closer, so we should start hitting a little bit more. These are some very slow shells that are coming in for the Meg. And some nice crammage there. Oh, there we go. Those are hitting nicely now. This is where hollow point starts to look a little bit worse too. Unlike Miles, where you really want to be using hollow point, here you really don't want to be using hollow point. I'm really surprised the Meg still has this much firepower though. Given this amount of heat. We must have been just tremendously unlucky with what we've been hitting with this heat. Or this Hesh, I mean. Because these aren't big turret caps, so I mean it does make it less likely to hit them. But at the same time, that makes it so that basically one of these volleys to a turret cap should just immediately disable the turret. And we just haven't managed to do that. Why are the missiles going... Okay, this is just from the depths and missile things. So we do have a fair bit of anti-missile stuff of our own as well. But we kind of have to hate missiles because they're made out of wood. That just ridiculous amount of anti-missile stuff crammed onto the Meg is probably why it's so bad against pretty much everything else. Now that and the hollow point shells. Still have to kill the Retribution after this. It didn't spawn in, just all of its wingmates did, so... There we go, those are some good hits. I'm not seeing bounces anymore, so I think the Meg's power plant has been taken out. Actually, I think it lost some of its generators a while ago because its railguns haven't been firing properly for a long time. But man, she can take a long time to kill. This is just a lot of cost in armor to take out in this playthrough. I think Miles actually held up pretty well, given that he's about half the cost of the Meg, just a hair more. And if he's using kinetic missiles, he might have actually won. If he's using armor-piercing crams, he definitely would have won. Not one of our Poly Warriors. Haven't been using them too much recently, but They've slowly been making their way towards the Steel Striders. We've got both the lambs fairly concentrated there. Huge amount of anti-missile systems. I really doubt any of those missiles got in. I think we've taken just about all the damage we're going to take. Meg should probably be getting counted as sinking pretty soon, although it might not be below 80%. Taking some hash to the tail now as well might chip away some of the missile firepower. Given the amount of hash this thing has taken, it still has a lot of firepower. We just have not been hitting those turret caps. There we go, finally despawning the Meg. Did not really chew through very much of our fleet. Oh, the meatball has taken some more damage, and the Poly Warrior took that one like a champ, I guess. Yeah, this is where its ammo is. It's where its ammo was, sorry. Oh right, I was on Miles. I actually kind of like the meatball. If I had more time to style it instead of the... I think I built it in about an hour and a half. Could probably look pretty cool, but you can definitely see how it's made up of a bunch of rectilinear shapes that I kind of slapped together. There are just some sacrifices that have to be made when you're building live in the campaign. Please die already. Low health, there we go. The angle on the meatball is not quite right to not get bounces off the water, it looks like, but there's probably not much I can do about it because this barrel depression isn't fantastic. Alright, I think there's just one more thing to kill, the Retribution, and then the end of the episode. Despite killing the Meg, this is just a small fraction of the resources that the Steel Striders have at their disposal. So, we're gonna have to see. Hopefully it's not more Megs. If it is, I might rebuild... No, I'm not gonna retrofit the missiles and the Miles. That would take forever. That's just not gonna happen. Really just gonna have to kill them all like this. Not sure if the Meg used to have the purple shield projectors and stuff, or if this was a change made when it was decided that that sort of thing should be purple. I also have no idea if that wedge armor is something that she always had. And there's just so much stuff. Oh, I should have turned the volume limit down. We just spawned a lot of ships. Please don't crash. I got a spinner there. You can't see it because I don't show the overlays. So, just a little bit of respawn time left on the Meg, or despawn time left on the Meg, and then the Retribution to kill. Guess there must have been two because she spawns with her wingmates. And we already killed the other one. I guess that's how that works. Yeah, the other one probably detonated like that too. These guys will probably go down to laser power, though I doubt the paper tiger is going to hit them. Close though. I mean, it could now, I guess. It's certainly trying. Well, we did it. And that's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you in the future.